Jolly Green 1990 here to do my review of One Piece chapter 1057. I usually don't do reviews, but this was a chapter there was a lot of information that I wanted to talk about. First of all, first thing I want to mention is I believe Yamato is and will always be a Straw Hat. When I read that chapter, I was a little frustrated. It seemed like Yamato is not joining, but based on the rest of the chapter, Yamato will join, and I will address that, but I want to state it right off the beginning. Yamato, in my opinion, is and always will be a Straw Hat, and she will be joining the crew at some point. Now, the rest. In my opinion, there's 8 parts of the story, so I don't really have a review structure, but from going forward, I'm going to break the chapter down into different sections that stand out to me. That'll be my review. I don't have a score. I'll just tell you whether I think it was a 10 or less than a 7. To me, a good One Piece chapter is good action, story, and character development. So I'll get to that at the end. So, first part, the Yuta story. I like the fact that the last 3 chapters, including this one, we've had some information about Yuta, who is Shanks' daughter in the movie film Red. One thing I did find out was which I was fine with, is Yuta is not Shanks' real daughter. I think that makes sense, and it's good to have that kind of their adopted character. One thing I heard from several other YouTubers was that YouTubers and Google essentially was that Shanks like to take out young upcoming pirates. I don't believe that, but to me, based on what I've seen with Yuta and everything, I believe he sees these young sparks, like the next generation, and actually shoots in to protect them. And to me, Yuta is one of those. And so to me, it was nice to see that. Briefly, so this isn't one of the 8 parts of me, but the cover story was interesting. There was some stuff with Caesar in this cover story, so I guess there's 9 parts I'm going to talk about. Caesar's clown is a scientist who is doing experiments on kids on Punk Hazard. It's cool to see that he's intertwined with this cover story. I still think Katakuri is going to kick his butt. Katakuri fan all the way. So, next part. We jump into the chapter, and there's a little bit of play that the denizens of Wano are doing about the Red Scabbards and the raid on Ishima. I thought that was cool. Nice little way to say, hey, we had this other lady underwent the brainwashing of Orochi, who was doing play how evil the Scabbards were. Now we're saying how good they are and showing actually kind of what happened. I thought that was nice. Next part. Yamato says she's not joining. And even Momonosuke's like surprised, and so he's like, yeah. And Momonosuke's like, I talked to Luffy about it, it's okay. But it still kind of seemed a little rushed for me, just with the way they did things with Yamato not joining. The next part is leading up to Momonosuke, Kinemon, and Yamato catching up to Luffy as they're at the port. So, as they get up, essentially Luffy's mad. He's like, yeah, could you leave us? This isn't rare. And he's like, don't you think better of us? And then with that, we kind of get a flashback of all the different times Luffy and Momonosuke have interactions about how Luffy encouraged Momonosuke to be a strong young man. That was one part. And then we actually see how Momo's frustration with Luffy and then confronting him and saying, did you leave me? Everything. And so he's like, hey, look, Momo, I consider you a little brother. It's like you, Yamato, and Kinemon are always welcome to join the crew. So to me, that right there says, okay, my opinion, Kinemon's okay, but not so much for joining the crew. I think Yamato and Momonosuke are like Vivi for me. They're honorary strats. They can come and go anytime they want. I think at some point, Yamato will officially join the crew. I'd like her to. If not, I definitely think she will come back and forth like Vivi will. I think Momonosuke with the samurai from Wano at some point will join up with Luffy, whether the final battle or near the end of the story. So I definitely believe Yamato is not done with the crew. I believe she will at some point join the crew. Yamato for Straw Hat all the way. Next, switch game. Loved this next part. Luffy pretty much says, hey, wait 1 second. Usopp has got something for you that I had it made. And it is a full-fledged large Straw Hat flag. And pretty much it says, hey, look, you are under my territory. You are under my protection. If anyone messes with you, they mess with us. You are my friend. I've got your back. And to me, I love that because it says that he's asserting his dominance now as a Yonko. He realizes, hey, these are my friends. I have the right to protect them. I'm going to protect them. You mess with them, you mess with all of us. And so I loved seeing that dynamic, seeing that essentially Luffy is stepping up. Because really it felt like he didn't want to be Yonko, he didn't want to be a great pirate. You know, he wants to be free, but here he is still asserting, hey, look, I'm free, but I got your back. Anyone who messes with you, they mess with us. I love seeing that part. Next, so then with that, Luffy's claim to territory. Literally, to me, that's separate from the flag. It's like, hey, I got your back, but then it's not, hey, Luffy is claiming territory. He's saying, look, Wano is my territory. Anyone mess with it, I mess with them. To me, that says, okay, so then what next? Dressrosa, Alabasta, Fishman Island. Those three, Wano and possibly Junisha. Those 5 right there, to me, guaranteed the first 4. Not Zunisha probably, because kind of does his own thing, but definitely to me those 4 should be in his territory. I could say they're stretched halfway, so how would you do? But Whitebeard was not the strongest because he had the largest territory. Big Mom currently has territory that as far as we know, is not completely defended because she's not there at the moment. Katakuri and his family are there, but I think at some point there will be a confrontation either with Luffy, Katakuri again, or the crew. So I think Luffy will gain more territory. I don't think he's going to be your typical Yonko and expect payment. I think, we don't know what Shanks did, but I have a feeling Shanks doesn't expect payment from people in his territory. It's probably more of a just, hey, they're my friends. I protect them. You mess with them. You mess with me kind of thing. That's how based on his personality. So I definitely feel Luffy's not going to demand anything. And most of them would say, hey, let's throw a party. You feed me and the crew. I could see that, once I know why he stops by. He's like, hey, just feed us. And I'm like, okay, fine. I don't really believe he's going to demand anything. So to me, I'd like to see where that goes. And then the last part we really see, to me, it stuck out was kids, Luffy and Law's kind of rivalry still continue. Law's like, her kid's like, hey, I'm going to go, you guys are choosing safe out Luffy and Law. And they're like, safe. And so instead of going down, they were going to jump right off the rock when they do it. Last part, I do want to mention that with Wano, so Wano officially ends. Between Act 1 and 2 and Act 2 and 3, we had Goro saying different pieces of information. One thing I could see, if you've been watching a few of my videos on my channel for the last few months, I'm big on bounties. Just, to me, that stands out with One Piece crew. The series, I love seeing them. I still love seeing kind of how the rest of the world looks at people. Based on the fact that during one of the breaks between the acts, we had gotten the bounties of the Yonko. To me, this would be a perfect time not only to get the bounties of Luffy's crew, Kid's crew, updated Shubukai bounties. To me, those 3 major groups would be perfect time for us to see their bounties. Whether we do or not is debatable. What I would love to see, we already know Luffy, Kid, and Laws. 3 billion. Huge. Luffy's expected. Kid and Law, a little disappointed, expect lower. Content. Next to me is I want to know Zoro's bounty. So, now that I've talked about my review for 1057, there will be a link either here or here to my live reaction for One Piece Chapter 1057. If you liked this video and any others, please give me a like. Comment. If you disagreed with me on some stuff, give me a comment as well so we can discuss that. This is Jolly Green 1990 signing out. Bye, YouTube.